and pleasant. It is for brethren to dwell together in unity.
Greetings, Rabbi. This is Daryl. My wife Anika and I have had the pleasure of attending the synagogue on several occasions, and we found the Torah Bible studies and worship services to be truly a blessing. This experience has been unlike any other religious setting I've encountered. What stood out to us the most was your ability to address many questions from both the Christian and Hebraic viewpoints. I was raised in the Black Pentecostal church. Growing up, I often heard sermons emphasizing Satan as a fallen angel who rebelled against God, attributing him as the source of all evil and destruction in the world. This has always felt somewhat unsettling. Rabbi, I would appreciate your insights on this topic from a biblical Hebraic perspective. Additionally, I've come across information suggesting that Satan is not a proper personal name of a particular angelic being, and that the concept of Satan as a fallen angel opposing God is a modern invention that emerged after the biblical period. Please explain.
Daryl, blessings and a huge welcome to you and your wife, Anika. We pray that you found your visit to our Torah Bible studies insightful and the services spiritually uplifting. As you mentioned, our congregation is wonderfully diverse. We have individuals who grew up Catholic or Episcopalian, married to a spouse who is Jewish, or others who are white Christians, married to a spouse who is a Black Jew. Our congregation was founded by African Americans, the descendants of slaves in the 1800s and early 1900s. Our oral traditions, which have been passed down through generations, include our ancestry and lineage as descendants of the biblical Hebrews. Today, advancements in genetic and scholarly research have validated our identity, leading to numerous inquiries and visitors interested in exploring and learning their roots as Jews of the African diaspora outside of mainstream Judaism. Many of our founding members and others who later joined had roots in the Black Church, Baptist, Methodist, Pentecostal, and many other denominations. Our services have different worship formats like any other synagogue. We do the prayers in the Siddur, prayer book, the weekly Torah readings, and add an element of Black soul to the liturgy. The worship at some services features spirit-filled singing and music reminiscent of the Black Church, often leaving many first-time visitors amazed. Also, we offer classes and workshops designed to support individuals at every stage of their spiritual journey. Now, before I dive into your question, let me make something clear. This isn't about arguing, debating, or converting anyone to what we believe. Everyone has their spiritual path, and we respect that. You've already experienced this at our Torah Bible studies, but anyone new to our community needs to know this as well. We welcome everyone, Christian pastors, ministers, and anyone interested in joining. By the way, we're currently looking for a Christian clergy member to join us on our new podcast series. If you know someone, please have them reach out to us immediately. Now, to your question. Do angels have free will? Let's start with the Christian perspective. If Satan doesn't have free will, then how did he manage to lead a rebellion? According to Christian doctrine, Satan was once the most anointed and exalted cherubim, possessing demonic God-like power, but driven by pride, he disobeyed God and led an insurrection, which resulted in his exile and transformation into a fallen angel, and took with him a third of the angels. How could any of this be true if Satan didn't have free will. From a Jewish perspective, the Christian concept of Satan is not contained in the Hebrew Bible. Satan appears very infrequently in the Tanakh, which is an acronym for the Torah, Navaim, prophets, and Ketuvim, writings. This is what is referred to as the Hebrew Bible. So, is Satan in the Hebrew Bible? The Christian belief that Satan is a fallen angel stems largely from what Judaism views as a misinterpretation of Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12, which is actually about the king of Babylon, and Ezekiel chapter 28, which is about the king of Tyre, neither of which is about Satan. In the Tanakh, Satan is a servant of God, carrying out the Almighty's will. No angel can oppose God, because angels don't have free will. Satan is not a rebellious figure or the archenemy of God. There is not one example in the Hebrew Bible where any angel, the so-called Satan included, ever opposes the Almighty.
Different inclinations inside every human being exist side by side. They exist side by side within each human being. The rabbis never see two forces in the world, forces in nature, at war over a person's soul. There is no Jewish concept equivalent to that of an antichrist, or a Satan, or a devil, a satanic force rivaling God and God's power. There is no devil in the Jewish tradition, in the sense of any real power fighting for a human being's soul, hoping to win that soul, and to then cast it into eternal damnation in hell. It's just not a Jewish way of thinking. It's not a Jewish notion. It's not the way the rabbis conceive of the world.
Another aspect of Christian doctrine is that Satan, or the devil, is the god of this world, influencing non-Christian unbelievers and causing all the evil we see. In contrast, the Hebrew Bible emphasizes that free will is a gift from the Almighty, and it's what sets man apart from all other creation. Deuteronomy 30, verse 15.
ראה, נתתי לפניך היום את החיים ואת הטוב, ואת המוות ואת הרע.
See, I have set today before you this day life and good and death and evil. In essence, righteousness cannot exist unless man is free to choose to reject choices that result in evil. Satan's role is to test man's free will. A great Christian scholar once asked, if Satan is responsible for all the evil in the world, then who created Satan? Does God create evil? Is the devil or Satan roaming the earth causing harm? Evil is not a creation of God. As God said on each respective day of creation, it is good. So how could the Almighty create the sin and immorality we see in the world today? Isaiah 45, verse 7, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. The Lord does all these things. Can the Almighty defy his law? One must note that darkness and evil are not physical and are the absence of light and peace. What happens when light is removed? Many scriptures highlight how God detests sin, immorality, and evil. So why would the Almighty create these things? We must interpret these scriptures within the proper context of the Hebrew language, the original language of the Bible. Biblical scholars call this the Hebraic mindset. The case of Job. The devil is in the details. The Hebrew noun Satan, transliterated as Satan, originates from the verb Satan. The verb Satan is interpreted as to accuse, to slander, or to act as an adversary. In biblical Hebrew, proper personal nouns do not take the definite article, the. The only instance in Scripture where Satan appears without a definite article or possibly as a proper personal name is in 1 Chronicles 21, verse 1. This particular verse is the only scriptural basis for those who believe in an evil cosmic figure known as Satan. Despite the capitalization of Satan, a poor translation of the Hebrew text in English Bibles, these passages in the proper Hebraic context do not denote a specific individual or a certain celestial being. Therefore, Satan should not be interpreted as a proper personal name. The term, the Satan, with a Hebrew definite article, as it is presented in the book of Job, signifies that Satan is not a proper personal name of a celestial being. Instead, it is a generic term meaning the adversary. In Job's story, Satan can be seen as a metaphor for Job's instincts, his adversary, those parts of him that are separate from his soul. When God tells Satan that he can affect everything Job owns, except for his soul, it signifies that Job's instincts, his misguided thoughts, distanced him from God and caused his suffering. In this way, Satan harmed Job. Man has the ability to resist his instincts, his evil inclination, also known as Yetzer Hara. If he doesn't, he loses God's protection and becomes vulnerable to harm and is removed from God's providence. It must be noted that in Job, chapter 1, verses 7 through 12, and chapter 2, verses 2 through 6, are the only instances in the Hebrew Scriptures where the Satan and God converse with each other. In both instances, God is the one who initiates the conversation. See chapters 1 and 7 and 2 and 2. The Lord said to Satan, "Where have you come?" God doesn't literally talk to Satan because Satan isn't a separate being from Job. The dialogue between God and Satan here is a metaphor designed to convey deeper spiritual insights. To be fair to our Christian audience, it is important to acknowledge the existence of various distinctive Jewish practices related to angels. These include the use of amulets intended to protect against malevolent spirits and certain superstitions associated with the naming of infants, which aim to avert the influence of the angel of death, among other traditions. Nevertheless, it is essential to note that these practices are primarily cultural and are observed within specific Jewish communities only. I'm very familiar with Black Pentecostal and white evangelical teaching and preaching, and can recall a time when it was once very common to hear sermons titled "The Devil Did It," fervent prayers casting out demons or demonic spirits, spiritual warfare, or the doctrine that Satan is a fallen angel, including references that the devil is the serpent in the Garden of Eden. However, such teachings are becoming less prevalent. These days, many Christian clergy are attending educational programs and seminaries which require biblical Hebrew. And what's fascinating is that some of the terms and concepts, which may appear to be the same on the surface, are taking on new light under the microscope of biblical Hebrew.
Now, you understand, because your pastor is a scholar, that everything in the English doesn't necessarily mean what it means in the original language. So to a Hebrew man, when they're reading this passage, this word kiva means to twist or to bind. Watch it. He says in the Hebrew mind, to wait means to twist or bind. In other words, while I was waiting, I held it together.
What once looked the same doesn't quite add up the same way when you dig into the Hebrew text of the Scripture. And there are countless Christian scholarly articles and videos examining and reconsidering the position of Satan as a fallen angel. I frequently express to a remarkable couple who are dear friends of mine. The wife is a Christian evangelist, and the husband serves as a deacon and community advocate. Although I'm a Jew, I pray that my sharing will assist you in your walk to becoming better Christians. While religion can occasionally seem to foster separations among us, however, we can utilize our faith to close those divides and foster unity. Our objective is straightforward. The more we understand one another, the more compassionate we can be towards each other. We're all in a continuous process of learning and spiritual growth. If you are interested in our Torah Bible studies, or a spiritual home to worship for you and your family, please reach out to us.